Hey guys, welcome back to another Unreal Engine 4 tutorial. Today I'm going to be showing you how to implement swimming into your game. So in this video I'm going to be making the actual material and the body of water that you can swim in and all the effects that you would want when you jump into the water, and also how to actually swim, so the animations, the mechanics, the moving, all of that good stuff. So without further ado, let's go straight into it. So what we're going to do first is actually create our water material. So to do this, we're just going to simply get either a plane or a cube. I prefer to get a cube, so it's three-dimensional, it's not just got one side. So if you just search for cube, get the 1 meter cube here, just place it in, and then size this accordingly to the size of your body of water area. Now obviously if you already have the water set up, you don't need to do this. I'm showing you how. So make it as thin as you need, and then scale it up to be the size of your area. And then I'm also just going to raise it up a bit so the water starts there. Just double check that it goes everywhere you want. That's good for me. And then we're going to add our actual water onto here. So we search for water again here. We should already have some base materials. Here we go. And obviously if you have your own, you can use these, but I'm just going to use water lake, put it on there, and it's now like that. So obviously this doesn't look too great because it's for a lake, obviously not a swimming pool. So again, if you have your own textures, use those. And then we're also going to want to turn the collision off on this. So go down to collision water and change collision presets to no collision. And if we press play, we can test this out. So go up to our swimming pool, and then we can see that we can just then go straight in through the water, and that works. Now I might raise this up a little bit more. So just move the water up slightly like that. I think that's good for me. And then what we want to do next is actually get our volumes. So we want two different volumes. We want a physics volume and a water volume. So let's get the physics volume first. So go over the left here, go into volumes, scroll down and get physics. And sorry, you don't want physics and water, you want physics and post-processing, but we'll get into that. So drag in the physics, and again, just make sure that this is the perfect size for your area of water. So I'm just going to scale like this, and you want to make sure it doesn't go too much out of the water, because then it will start to affect other things that you won't want it to. So make sure you get it scaled perfectly up. And also on the height as well, you want it to be the right height, not too big, not too small. I think that's good for me. And then we want to make this into an actual water volume, not just base physics. So on the right over here, we're going to go down to character movement. Here it is, and we're going to just tick water volume there. And obviously you can change the terminal velocity, the fluid friction, the priority, all of this, but the default values are quite good. They're like base water, so you can change these if you want it to be like sludgy water or something like that, but for me this is quite good, just the default values for water volume. And we want our post-processing volume, which is going to basically add in all the blue effect and the vignette and stuff like that. So post-processing, put that in there as well. And to make this easier, I'm just going to copy and paste the exact same location and size scalings for this. So copy and paste like that. You just simply right click, copy, then right click, paste like that, and then just double check it's how you want it. So yeah, perfect, like so. And then we're going to want to, in the post-processing volume, we're going to want to actually change these effects how we want. So as you can see, it just looks like an empty space under here, not underwater at all. So to change the actual color, we want to change the scene color to be able to change the underwater color. So if we just search for scene color here, under color grading miscellaneous, we just tick that to activate it, and then we can change the color. So as you can see, as we change it, it then changes what it looks like under here. So you can have it red if you want, like blood red, or kind of browny for dirty water. But I'm going to go with a nice kind of light blue like that. I think that looks quite good. Then press OK. Then if we go back to find that, so under color grading and then miscellaneous, you can also change all of these down here to make it look a lot better. So if you want to up the saturation and the contrast a little bit, you can do that. So you just change it here, make it a little more blue, however you want. I'm not going to mess about with these too much, but that, just so you know, that's how you change them. If you put on blue correction, you can just change these as well. So again, just mess around with these values for however you want, but I'm just going to set it to a nice blue like that, just so you can actually tell that you are underwater and it doesn't just look as bad as it did before. But I am also just going to add a little blue tint to it as well, just to make it a little better, like so. And then maybe up the intensity a bit as well. And we're also going to add a little bit of motion blur, so it looks like you are kind of swimming, moving around, and the water's moving around in front of you as well. So again, if we just search for motion blur, I'm going to tick amount and max. Again, mess around with these however you want. I'm going to set that to 1, and maybe leave that as 5, I think. I think that looks good. And then we'll change depth of field as well. So if we just search for that as well. Mobile depth of field, here we go. Take the scale and you can just change these here. So obviously mess about with these how you want. I think for the moment it's pretty fine for me. Focal distance, again, just mess about with these. So that's basically that part done. So you can go under the water and it looks like you are underwater, so you can fall in. It's nice and blue, and you can see that you actually fall a lot slower when you go in, so it's like you are swimming. So we go in, you can see that we fall slower. And we can then move around. It kind of takes a little bit to slow down, you kind of glide about a bit, like that. So now let's get on to the actual swimming animations for it as well. And I might, just before that, make this a little bit bigger. You don't need to do this if you don't want. And now what you may notice as well is that if you fall into the water, so you go to swim, you just go straight to the bottom, and if you try to move around, you then don't sink or go up. So when you're looking around and holding forward, you just walk in a straight line. Obviously it's more slow as if you're walking through water, but you can't swim up or down. So I'll show you to fix that now. So what you need to do is go into your character blueprints, mine being third person BP, blueprints, third person character. So open that up, and then what we're going to do is just change a bit of the movement mode over here. So if I just move this here, and what we want to do is just move the add movement input forward a bit, the input axis move forward back a bit, and then here we're just going to do a bit of code. So what we want is a branch here, so true or false. We want false to go back into the add movement input there, and as a condition we want to see if the character is swimming. So to do that we just want to get a reference to our character movement, and off of this we want to get our movement mode. So if we just search for movement mode like this, so we want to get movement mode, and then off of this we want equals and then enum like this. We want to see if it equals swimming. Move it up a bit, and then this will be the condition of the branch. So this is basically how we see if the character is swimming or not. And what we want to do after this is essentially set it so that it's using the camera input instead of the control rotation here. So instead of using the mouse, we're going to be using the camera. So off of the true, what we're going to want to do is get another add movement input, so we can just copy and paste this, plug that into true there, and again scale value will just be the axis value here. And for the world direction, what we want to do instead is get our camera. So mine is just follow camera because I'm in third person blueprint. Yours might be something else, and then we're going to get the world rotation, so basically the rotation of this camera, and then for the return value of this we're going to get forward vector to just change it into a vector and put that into the world direction there, like so. Just move this down a bit so it just looks a bit more organized. And then obviously this is for the forwards, as it input axis move forward, this is forward and back. So then you do the same down here for moving left and right. But we don't really need to do that right now as it works anyway, so this is just basically how we do this. So I'll just move all this over to make it a little bit more organized, and then put the comment around all of this like so. So if we compile this, close it, and then test this again, we can see that if we then fall into our water, we can then now move our character up and down. So again, there's no animations for swimming at the moment, but we can move our character up and down, left, right, all around however we like. So now let's get to the actual animation side of it. So I'm going to go into my actual animations folder just to keep this organized again. So as I'm just using the third person character, it'll be mannequin and then animations. So I'm just going to do it in here again to keep it organized. So we're going to want to right click, go to animation, and we want blend space 1D for one directional. And we want this to be our character, mine's just the UE-form mannequin. Then change this to whatever you want to call it. So I'm just going to call this swimming_BS for blend space. And open that up straight away. We're going to have our two animations here. I have idle, so like if you're treading the water and then swim forward, you can have as many different ones as you want. And you can have an animation blend space 2D if you want to have the different kind of strafing left and right as well. But I'm just have those two forward and idle. So we also need to import those. So if I just import those now, like this, skeleton, beautiful mannequin, import all, like this, and then go back into the blend space, you can see that we can now just drag these on here. So on the idle at the start there and the forward at the end. And if you hold left shift, you can move this little preview value here. So if you have it all the way here, it'll be idle, so not moving at all, treading water. And if we put it over here, it should be swimming forward. Although I think I might put that as idle as well by accident, so we'll get swimming forward. There we go. that now works. So over here it's idle, over here he's swimming, and anywhere between this is just blending between those values. So if we go onto the axis settings here, open the horizontal axis, I'm just going to call this speed, is that what this is? The minimum is 0, the maximum is basically the maximum speed the player can go underwater, which by default is 300, and you can check this by going onto third person character self, scrolling down till you find swimming. So it's under character movement, so scroll all the way down till you find swimming. Here it is, you see maximum speed 300, so if you've changed it, set it to that. So you just put that in there, and then when it's swimming forward, he'll be swimming forward, and then when he's not moving, he'll be idle / treading water. So that's basically that part done, so we can save this and close it now. Now what we want to do is actually open up the animation blueprint. So mine's third person and BP, yours might be something else. And what we want to do is go to the default, so here, and then open idle run like this. So you can see you already have the blend space for the running, and you already have the speed variable here. So now what we want to do is get our other blend space that we've just made. So mine is the swimming blend space, so just put that in there, and then again plug speed into the speed variable that we already have. But you can't plug two blend spaces into the same one at the same time, so we want a blend by bool. Yep, that's blend poses by bool, and what we want is actually the idle run in false and then the swimming in true. So I'll actually just move these the other way around like so. And then the active value obviously needs a boolean as it's blend by bool. So we're going to make a new variable. I'm going to call this is swimming ? Or anything along those lines. And just plug that in there. So basically if the character is swimming, it's going to play the swimming blend space. If the character isn't swimming, it will play the running blend space. And then you can change the times to go between them. But I think 0.1 is a good blend space between. And just plug the result into the result of the animation, like so. But now what we want to do is actually create it so we can get the isSwimming variable, so actually set it like so. And to do that, what we need to do is go into the event graph of the animation blueprint, sorry. And then what we're going to start off with is go up here and get off the event begin play. If you've already used it, just go off of that, but I haven't, so event blueprint begin play. And then I'm just going to cast to my character, so mine is just the third person character, but just use whatever you've called yours. And obviously get player character, like so. And then as third person character, all we want to do is promote this to a variable, so you can just right click, promote to variable. I'm going to call this character reference, or character ref. And this is basically just so we can use this anywhere else in the code to get a reference to the character. So I'm just going to comment this and call it get character reference, or just ref like that. So then what we want to do is come down here to the end of the code, and we want to get that character ref we've just made. So get character ref, drag off of this, and we want to get the character movement. So get character movement like that, and then off of this we want to get the movement mode. So get movement mode, and we want another equals enum like this. Equal enum, so we can see if it's swimming, so get swimming in there. Again, this is just checking if the character is swimming, and then off of this we just want to set it swimming, so this will set it to true or false depending on what the character is doing, and then just plug that into there like so. So I'm just going to do this, put a comment around it, and call it is player swimming ? Now that means we can now essentially use this to go between the different blend spaces there. Now we want to go back to our third person character, go back to the event graph here, and if we just find some empty space and get event on movement mode changed, like this, and off of new movement mode, we just want to get another equals enum to check what the mode is, and if the new movement mode is swimming, then we want to branch, so hold down B, left click, which basically means if new movement mode is swimming, then we can go on true or false, so if it is or if it isn't. We want to then set the actor rotation. So off of true, what we're going to do is set our rotation rate. Set rotation rate. But we need to get that off the character movement first, sorry. So off of true, we're going to get a reference to our character movement and then set rotation rate, like so. Plug that into true, and then we'll do the same off false. So copy and paste that, plug it into false there, and remember to plug the character movement into the target like that. And if we just select the third person character self here, or the character movement, sorry, and then go down, find character movement rotation settings here. It should already be ticked, but if it isn't, make sure to tick orient rotation to movement. But it should be ticked already. We can see that the rotation rate is 00540, and so we want to use these values here. So the rotation rate off of true, we just want to set to 540 on all of them. So 540, 540, 540, and then off of false, we just want to set it back to this, so 00540. And this is essentially, if we're swimming, it's going to change it so the rotation can change following which direction the character is moving. So on the Z, for when you're walking, it means the character will rotate on the Z axis, but when we're swimming, we want to do it on all axes. So we set it like so. Now what we want to do is set it so that when you stop moving, so when you go idle, you start treading water, it resets the rotation to be like this, so that your character then sits upright in the water instead of wherever you were last at. Because when you start treading water, you don't like lay upside down or anything, or on your side, you sit upright. So let's do that. So to do that, we go back to the animation blueprint, and then back to the event graph here, and then off of set swimming, we're going to come off of this, and we're going to come off with a branch like so. And we're also going to want to then get the speed variable down here, so get speed, and we want this to be less than or equal to a float, and that float we're going to want to set to something like 100 or 50 or anything like that. It's basically just less than the speed that you're going to be moving at. So we're going to be swimming at the speed of 300, so I'm going to set this to 100. That might be a bit high, but we can change this out if you want. And then this is going to go into an AND boolean like this. I'm just going to put that on the bottom, and the top one is going to be is swimming. So if we're swimming, so underwater, and our speed is less than or equal to 100, that will then go into this branch. And if that's true, so we are swimming and the speed is less than 100, we're going to want to set the axis rotation. So again, go upright so that the player is treading water at a correct angle. So actually the set axis rotation will need to come out of the character movement. So actually we need to get the character reference there, get character ref, and set actor rotation, plug that into true like that. Also just going to move this up here, and then on the new rotation we're going to want to right click this and split the structure pin, and then off character reference again we're going to want to get the actor rotation like this, and again split this structure pin as well, and we just want the Z of the get actor rotation into the Z of the set actor rotation like so. And then to have this so it doesn't snap, we're going to do some interrupts between them. So what we want to do first is actually get the delta time here, which is basically the time in between frames. So we just right click and promote to variable, and call this delta time like this. Make sure to plug that in like so, and then we'll come back down over here, and off of this get actor rotation here, we're going to want to make rotator like so. So it goes back into a rotator, and then we want to interp, so R interp 2, and we want actually that make rotator into the target, not the current, and the current will just be get actor rotation. So we come back off of the character ref again, get actor rotation, and then plug that into the current like so. And then the delta time, obviously delta time variable we just made, plug that in there, and the interp speed is the time in seconds you want it to blend between the two animations. So from going from swimming into the idle animation, and I'm going to set mine to about 2. I think anywhere between 2 and 5 is a good speed. It's just basically how fast you want it to go, so mess about with the settings however you like. And then we're actually just going to move this out here, and what we're going to do is actually also just get rid of that, because I've done this wrong, I realised. So then we recombine the structure pin and just plug that into there. So plug the interp into the new rotation. I'm just going to move this down to make it look a bit more organized, like this, and this now blends between the two ones smoothly. So now if we hit compile and we can test this, so we now go back up to the water, we should see that we have an animation when we go in. So we are now in the water, we have the swimming animation, so we can now swim around and swim up, down, left, right, and if we stay still, go to the idle, he's now treading water instead of swimming forwards. So he goes from swimming forwards, speed's less than 100, now treading water. So again, you can change this value to be whatever you want. If I were to change it to 200 over here, here we go, so set to 200 instead of 100, you'll see that it does it quicker, because it doesn't need to be going as slowly to change between swimming and idle. So swimming, and then stop moving, goes back to idle like that, which I think looks quite good. So then if you come out of this and you get these errors here, this is fine, it says access non trying to read property character ref. So you press the magnifying arrow there, you get to it. It's just saying that it isn't accessing this, but it is, so it's nothing to worry about. And you know that it is because it is actually working, so everything still works. Yeah, but so yeah, other than that, this works out perfectly fine. So we can then go up into the water volume, go into the water. When we're underwater, we get this nice little blue effect. We can swim around, so we can swim up and down, left and right, and when we stop swimming, it will transition to another treading water or idle animation like so. And then if we come out of the water as well, I haven't tested this yet, so actually you can see there's a little error there. So when we get out of the water, the rotation doesn't go back to land. So I thought I'd already fixed this, but clearly I haven't. So we'll get right into that now. And to do this, what we're going to basically do is go back into our third person blueprint, so for our character blueprint, sorry, and then off of the set rotation here. Yeah, I thought I added this on, but what we want to do is after this, we're going to set the actor rotation like so, and then target is obviously self. New rotation, what you want is to make rotator like this, and for the Z, for the or yaw, we just want to get actor rotation, and for the Z or yaw, we just want to get the actor rotation and plug that in there. So we want to right click, split structure pin, put the Z into the Z like that, and it's just as simple as that. Compile and test this again. So we now go into a water, we can still swim around and everything works perfectly. Now we should also be able to get out of the water as well, like that, and that worked perfectly. So now we can get in and out of the water, and the rotation actually adjusts back to being on land, so it then works perfectly. So we can jump in the water, swim around, up, down, left, right, go to idle, like that, and then we can also just get back out of the water just as easily. So we swim up, get out, and then we can walk around, and we're now walking again instead of swimming. So I think that'll be it for this video. Thanks so much for watching. We've done everything I wanted to do, like I just went through. Go in, underwater, it's nice and blue, so it looks like water. We swim up, down, left, right, go to an idle, treading water animation, and we can swim back up and get out of the water perfectly fine. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed and hope you found it helpful. And if you did, make sure to like and subscribe down below. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.